my dears, it's Katie, and I'm here today to talk about star ratings. If you guys haven't noticed over the last couple of months, I haven't really been using my star ratings. As a matter of fact, if you go back and look through my red shelf, you'll notice that I don't have any ratings anymore. There is a reason for that, and I will talk to you about it in a second. But basically, the long and short of it is I don't like star ratings. I find them to be completely arbitrary. They're very personal. They don't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. I know Goodreads has their specific method, but I personally don't like it. I know other people who use other types of rating systems, and it's just not for me. I'm also going to double up this conversation and talk about rant reviews and negative reviews and just kind of how our community views them, and just kind of my take on how damaging something like that can be. So let's just jump right on in and first talk about the star ratings. So star ratings, I've kind of briefly mentioned that they are not for me. A lot of this came about from a lot of different things. I was watching different booktubers talk about rating and talk about how they were creating their own system, or they just decided not to use them anymore, or they just were trying to come up with their own thing, because just the star and it being what it is and just not having like half ratings, for instance, is just not working for a lot of people. For me, I would look back at a book I'd read and I rated it one thing, and then I looked back at it a couple months or a couple weeks, couple months later, and I'd be like, I really rated that book that thing. I don't think so. A prime example is I gave a really, really well-known fantasy book on here 3 stars. And in reality, I felt that it should have been closer to a 2. And I was like, I really rated it that high? And, I was just like, what? And I was just finding that with a lot of different books across the board. And I'm like, someone is going to look at this and think that I rated it this because I enjoyed it or because I didn't enjoy it. Whereas my thought process is a lot different. And that's part of the reason I don't like the star rating system, because it's like what one person's 5 stars is another person's 3 star. And I just got so frustrated with that. I mean, like, while I know a lot of people just look at the arbitrary star rating and they're like, yes, I love this because it tells me what this person thought, does it really tell you what that person thought? To me, it doesn't. I'm just like, okay, they liked it, but why? And what does this mean for them? And yes, some people expand on it in a review or in their wrap-ups or something, but not everyone is a booktuber. And just thinking about non-booktube people versus booktube people, there's a disconnect there with the star system, because it's giving people a better idea. So what I've been doing the last couple of months is, instead of doing the star rating system, I've just been writing reviews like I've been doing on my channel since I started. I'm breaking it down by certain elements and kind of talking about whether I enjoyed it or I didn't, without giving it a ranking. And I know some of you guys are probably going to argue that the ratings do matter for the publisher and for the author themselves. And I'm going to make an argument that just any interaction with their book, whether it's a positive or negative review, whether it's on Amazon or it's on here, is going to give that attention. I don't necessarily believe that giving it a rating is 100% what gives it. I mean, does it help? Maybe, but it's not the only thing that matters. Having us go out there and talk about them on our channels or write reviews or do blog things like that gets the hype up, and that we can give people our actual thoughts, and it will, be better. Like, it's more than just, hi, I gave it this star rating. Okay, is that based on enjoyment? Is that based on analytical and critical thinking? Like, how are you coming up with that? Is it a mixture of the two? For me, it is kind of a mixture, but it's like heavier on enjoyment, and people aren't necessarily going to know that. So my solution for the moment is to just write out my thoughts, write out my feelings on Goodreads. And I don't know if I'm going to go and redo that at some point or another, but that's my thought right now. You guys might be wondering, well, Katie, why did you delete all of the star ratings from like all of the previous things? Why didn't you just change it going forward? I have this thing about everything needing to be a specific way. So it's like, if I'm going to change my system, I'm going to change it completely. I don't want those old things there for people to look at and be like, oh, she did this thing, but like, why is she not doing this thing? It's just going to be a disconnect, and I just rather change everything. And I'm also just extra. So now moving and shifting a little bit to my view on negative reviews and rant reviews, and why I think that they can be harmful, even though they don't intend to be. So rant reviews is something that our community tends to really, really enjoy. We like making fun of things, we like seeing the tea, we like seeing hot takes on things. I get it. I've definitely indulged in watching certain things like that in the past. But, over the last couple of months, I've realized that the way that critical views on a book are portrayed can sometimes be really, really harmful and cutting. I experienced this a couple of months ago with a book that I really enjoy. Someone described it as bad fan fiction, and I've always had an issue with that. Talking about a book you consider to be bad as fan fiction. You guys know that I am an avid reader of it. It can be really well done. I've actually read some fan fiction that is better than a published book. So I hate that we have that stigma surrounding that. Looking at it from a writer's point of view, like having someone completely destroy their work and they see that, I can't help but think like that someone is going to harm that author's creativity streak. Like, I don't know how many writers I have following my channel, but like if someone were to completely destroy your work by saying just terrible things about it, how would that make you feel? First of all, I'm not saying you might see it or you might go looking for it, but on the off chance that you were to see that, how would that impact you? Second of all, as a reader, someone who loves a book so much, like they feel that it represents them on such a deep level and they connected with, to hear people constantly dissing a book and talking about how awful it is and how terrible it is and just all of these negative things about it, that even though it's not intended that way, I can see the person who loved that thing, feeling like they were the ones who were being personally attacked. Like, I don't care how many times people in videos say, this is not a personal attack on you or the author, this is just blah, blah, blah. Yes, you can put all the disclaimers you want, but at the same time, I can't help but think how many people will still react to it. Like, I know that if I see someone talk about a book, one of the books of my heart and soul, in a negative way, that I will carry it with me for a very long time, and it really impacts me. It's like you're personally attacking me, even though that's not how it's meant. And I know that there are some other people out there too, like even if they've never recommended it to someone, but it's someone that they thought was a friend and they trusted, and I don't know, it's just it affects you in a certain way. So I mean, like, basically what I'm getting at is, while rant reviews and things are like super fun and kind of hilarious to watch sometimes, there are other things to keep in mind while you're making that kind of content, just how much of a negative impact it could have on a person, on a creator, and on the community. Because I mean, you always talk about booktube drama. I don't really see too much of it, probably because of the way that I follow it. But, you know, a lot of it, the drama is surrounding discussions like this and like just hyper fixating on specific things. So yeah, just some things to keep in mind, I think, going forward, maybe. So those are my thoughts, star rating systems, and rant/negative reviews. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to chat with you about them either down in the comments, or if you want, feel free to come and DM me. But other than that, you guys know the drill. I have all of my social media links down below, and I will catch you later in another video for you guys again soon. Bye!